I got a very strange routine. That's something I always blame myself a lot for that. Sometimes I feel there's nothing I can do. I'm not a fan of breakfast in the morning, so each day when I wake up, the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna head on straight to my gym, do a little bit of exercise, and then I know I can kickstart my day. Oh, damn it. I'm not feeling too well today because I had a terrible day at work yesterday. I slept pretty late. So I feel that maybe I haven't had enough sleep. So I'm just gonna do this thing for 20 minutes. If I can hit 30 minutes, I'm gonna give myself a lot of credit for that. So I'm gonna start my stopwatch to see how much I can go for today. But I believe that 30 minutes is the best I can go. So let's dive right into it. So let's see how far I can go today. I'm gonna make 30 minutes. So here we are at 22 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. I'm gonna make it exactly 30 minutes and 30 seconds. So I believe that with this, I can make it work. So here we go.
You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. Always thought that you were weak, but babe, you're wrong. Yeah, you better step into the light. Just give it a try. Think that it's time you let that spark out.
All right, 30 minutes exactly. I'm gonna end it this way and I think I'm done. Usually on my ordinary routine time, I usually exercise 45 minutes to an hour. It's just today, which is kind of unusual, but I'm gonna make up for it. Because for me, exercising in the morning is always the first accomplishment. It's kind of the first success of the day. So when I exercise in the morning and after I get out there, I feel like I can get on and on and on. So it gives me so much power, it gives me so much confidence to hopefully accomplish the things I have to accomplish per day. So I think that's gonna be it for today for exercising, and that's it. Very tired. If there is one more thing which I need to do each day, which is a stable routine for me, it's gonna be nothing else but something that actually keeps me very motivated, and that's nothing else but reading. You see, there is that saying that readers are leaders and leaders are readers. So every day I like to read for an hour or 45 minutes. It doesn't matter, I could choose to do it during the day or during the night, but I usually choose to read during the day because it actually keeps me motivated. It gives me a better chance to really think about some better opportunities and some certain things concerning work, life, balance. So I've been reading this book for 2 weeks, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I haven't finished yet because I've been caught up in the middle of some other things, so it actually slowed me somehow, but I believe that in a couple of days I'm going to be done with this book. I choose to go in gradually because the language in the book is, I wouldn't say difficult to understand, but it actually needs to really take some time to really go through the lines, go through the words, the phrases, and especially the meanings that are being supposed to be understood in the book. So I choose to take it gradually, but I know in a couple of 4 or 5 days I should be done with the book. So it's so funny. Okay. Okay, let me see. Yeah, let's see. Let's go on now. No, that. Jeez. So today's Friday, and my schedule for Fridays are very sweet. I love it. Usually on Fridays, I only have a lesson at my training center from 5 to 7, which is pretty fine by me. So I'm just going to grab a couple of things I'm going to need, and then I'm good to go. That one. And this one. Nope. Right. I think that's going to be it. Should take me like 40 minutes to get to my campus. Kind of a long drive, I think. My neighborhood is very quiet. It's the best I ever experienced living in China for the past 10 good years. If someone walked to me and asked me that question, Mike, do you enjoy this kind of neighborhood? I would say I love it, because you probably have lived in China, or you might have traveled to China sometime. You would know that the population here is it's just so much. So it's always crowded everywhere, the roads, the subways, everywhere, literally everywhere. So I always like to find a place which is very quiet, and that's why I choose this neighborhood to live in, because most of the people here haven't relocated to this location yet. They are still in some other apartments. So I found this place and I was so happy, because I wake up every day and there isn't any much noise, and even after I come back from work, it's like just me, you know. It's like I just live all alone. So it's just amazing. In my neighborhood, most of the roads are still under construction. That's the only thing I dislike about this neighborhood. Damn. During rush hours in the mornings and evenings, it takes me a lot of time to get off the traffic. If you've lived in China for some time, you should know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't really mind, because I don't have to work in the mornings, so it's not such a big problem. I need to fuel my car, so I'm going to pay for this fee. You know that. 你知道啊？微信扫码。I know. Damn it. Okay. So let's go pay that thing. One good thing about driving in China is you don't have to get in the crowded buses and subways. You can have an alone time. If you have that kind of person, probably like me, I like to be very quiet sometimes. I like to stay on my own. I remember when I moved to China, that was 10 years ago. I used to go to work by subways every day. So I still remember something that was so peculiar about my everyday in and out is answering lots of questions from people I maybe don't want to talk to. So curious, which means you got to answer lots of questions, lots of questions every day. And sometimes when I just finished work and I had a terrible day, having to deal with a lot of lessons and lesson plans and PBLs and meetings, I just feel like it's the end of the world. I don't want to talk to anyone. I just wish I could fly to get home, and it never happened. So at that time, when I get on the subway, I hear lots of people try to ask me questions. Sometimes I even pretend that I cannot speak Chinese or I do not understand, although my Chinese is so, I could say, fluent, but I would pretend I cannot even understand Chinese, hoping that I get to deal with less questions. It's always the same case. So the answering of question part is one thing. I think there isn't anything bad about asking questions or being curious about someone, because I know that Chinese people are pretty curious about foreigners. Lots of Chinese haven't ever met a foreigner before, which is very true. A big portion of them haven't seen a foreigner in real life. Some have had the chance to meet foreigners or to see foreigners on TV, on movies, but there is still that huge amount of Chinese who have never ever met a foreigner, never seen a foreigner on TV. So when they get around you, there are lots of questions they want to ask you. The only thing I find not so welcoming for a foreigner living here is you got to have some level of Chinese, because in Chengdu, in Sichuan province, you hardly meet Chinese who are very fluent in English. I'm not saying there isn't any, because there are still a lot, but compared to the population here, it seems like there aren't quite much. So to really meet Chinese who are fluent in English, you can communicate with, you can get along with very easily. If you're not fluent in Chinese, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, really. And maybe sometime you would consider getting a translator for your daily life, which I find very irritating, because you could translate phrases, but how would you translate the mood? That's impossible. If I ask a translator to translate, I want to have Chinese food for lunch, yeah, they could do that. But if I'm not in a good mood and I want to respond to someone just in that way, maybe that's not going to work with a translator. So I advise that if you plan to visit Sichuan province in China, if you plan to visit Chengdu, which is the biggest city in Sichuan province, you want to consider learning a few phrases and few words in Chinese. It's going to make your stay more enjoyable and more friendly around. So try to learn some Chinese.